Everyone, welcome back. This video we're looking at the KBO slate for Monday. As always, a 5-game KBO slate starting at 5:30 tonight. Let's get right into it. As always, appreciate if you hit the like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. First thing we're going to do is look at the starting pitchers today. These are the 10 starting pitchers going at it. We have a couple of good pitchers, most notably Mike Wright, Ki Young Im, very good pitchers. And then you have not a ton of a sample size on Lee of the Twins, but he's been pretty good so far. Now you have some poor pitchers. Always the Hanoa pitchers have been pretty poor. Shi Huan Zhang has given up a lot of power, 5 home runs in just 37 innings. He's facing he's good at getting strikeouts though, 46 strikeouts, but he's given up 53 hits. He's probably either like striking guys out or they're hitting it a long way. So definitely liking the Kia stack today. And then you have the KT pitcher, pretty poor as well. And then I think you can definitely touch on both the Doosan and the Kiwoom side. Kiwoom facing Yu, who has in 46 innings given up 5 home runs, I believe, but he only has 16 strikeouts in 46 innings, which is obviously extremely terrible. So I like the Kiwoom side just because a couple of their hitters have a ton of power, and a lot of their concern is like getting striking out a lot. So with a pitcher that just can't strike you out, I think Kiwoom is going to be able to put up some runs on the slate. So they look like a good stack to me. Right now, I like the Kia side a ton. Kia, the Twins for sure. The Dinos facing off against a pitcher are probably going to go a couple innings and then going with the bullpen. Kiwoom and Doosan as well. I don't have a ton of interest in the last game, so those are the 5 stacks that I like a lot. And pitching-wise on Draftkings, give me Mike Wright against Lodi. He's a huge favorite. He has been, a bit up and down, but I think he has like one of the best talents on the slate. Decent at getting strikeouts. He goes fairly deep into the games, usually getting at least like 5 innings out of him. It doesn't go much more than 6 innings because he sometimes gets into problems with walks, but I think it's just a pretty good matchup against Lodi. They are not a very good offense, so give me Mike Wright. And then I like Ki Young Im from the Kia side facing off against Hanoa. Anytime you get a pitcher facing off Hanoa, as long as the pitcher is somewhat decent, you're going to have some interest in him. And it's no difference here. Im has been pitching very good. He goes like 90, 100 pitches in like all of his starts, so that's looking pretty good for him. And Hanoa is the worst offense in the league, worst team in the league. So Kia being a big favorite, I like going with Im as my second pitcher. Leaves us with over $4,000 left to get our bats in. And then going with a lot of these stacks at first base. I like Park a ton at 4,300. He's at a very good price point. As you see, he strikes out a ton, 62 strikeouts and 154 at bats. But as I mentioned, the pitcher of Doosan tonight just doesn't strike guys out at all. In 46 innings, he's given up 5 home runs with more walks than strikeouts, and only has struck out 16 guys in 46 innings. So I think if Park doesn't strike out, he's going to be able to have you'll be able to have a good game, and he's been heating up a little bit last 10 games, 287 with or that's away. Last 10 games batting 294 with 4 home runs, looking pretty good. So I like Park for sure against against a lefty. He also has a lefty righty matchup going his way. Next up, I'll go over to third base, where from the Doosan side, you have a cheap third baseman who's been leading off for the team, and that is Hyun-Min Her. At 2,900, he's batting 350 with 3 home runs in his last 10 games. Been promoted pretty much in the leadoff spot now. If he's not leading off, he's still batting like in a very good spot in the order. At 2,900, facing off against a young pitcher who does not, who has been okay this year, but he's nothing special. 4.89 ERA, 5 bombs given up, only 27 strikeouts too. So another pitcher that doesn't strike many out. And DO is one of the best offenses in the league, so I feel pretty good about going with Her, especially if he does lead off again at third base at that cheap price point. In the outfield, going with a Kia bat that I love is Preston Tucker. Tucker is 5,800. Every once in a while, he has that slate-breaking score. I think it's been kind of a rough going for him. Hasn't really done much the last handful of games, but we all know what he can do, and it's a great spot against a pitcher that gives up a ton of power and gives up a lot of hits. Also, the bullpen is pretty bad of Hanwha, so I do like Preston Tucker. He's one of my better spend ups. I think you can definitely look at Sungbum Na if you want. You have Kim at 5,300, also looks good, but I do like Preston Tucker quite a bit, and I think he is going to be able to have a good game. And then another bat that I like on the Deucin side is Park, who's very cheap at 3,800. He's got off to a terrible start, but ever since that, he's been lights out the last month and a half, batting 410 the last 10 games. He's was leading off. Now he's batting third, so it's still a good spot for him to get those RBIs and get on base. He's been racking up some RBIs recently, racking up the multi hits. Really locked in at the plate, and at 3,800, it's pretty rare you get a guy starting hitting in the good spot of the batting order with the upside that Park has shown recently. So I think Park looks very good. He's also one of the few righties that's going to be facing off against the Q1 lefty, so that's always looking pretty good as well. So those are the stacks and the guys that I like on Draftkings. And now let's go over to Fanduel. All right, over on Fanduel, they have him as your most expensive. Well, him and Mike Wright tied at $28 at the top. I don't mind going with either one, but they also have a very cheap pitcher that I like quite a bit. He is the cheapest on the slate at $21 is the SK pitcher facing off against Samsung. And I like him quite a bit, especially at that cheap price point on FanDuel. He's the cheapest pitcher, and I do not think he should be. He got absolutely blasted in his last start, which is why his ERA is up to 5.81. He gave up negative, as you see, he gave up 9 earned runs in just 3 innings against Deucin. And before that, he was struggling a little bit. He also got no strikeouts in those 3 innings, but as you see, even though he's been giving up some runs, he's good at getting strikeouts and going 5, 6, 7 innings, which on FanDuel, as long as you can go 5 innings, you qualify for the win, and 6 to get that quality start. So I do think he looks good. It's also one of the better matchups that he's had. Last time against Samsung, he had 6 innings, got 6 strikeouts, got the win as well. Just too cheap. I think he's 28 years old, and he's been pretty good, at least since 2017, been decent. And 48 innings, 48 strikeouts so far this year. Definitely, I think he should be more expensive. And Samsung offense is also bad, and Salandino is out now, so it's even worse. So definitely liking going with the SK pitcher. Infield, I like Park again at $14. Just like I mentioned over on the DraftKings side, it's a great spot, lefty righty, facing off against a low strikeout pitcher is always good for him. He has just a ton of power. The only problem with him is that he strikes out a ton, but it's a very low chance that he's going to strike out a lot tonight. So, at least against the starting pitcher of Deucin. So definitely Park looks great. In the outfield, I like Preston Tucker again at $17, and then I like Choi as well, his teammate, who is $13, also pretty cheap. And obviously Tucker's expensive, but Choi is pretty cheap for the upside that he presents. He has been pretty good recently, has a power upside, has hits for high average, and it's just a good spot. Another lefty-righty matchup tonight, so definitely liking Choi. And that is pretty much it for the video, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like before you head out, and good luck tonight.